On this episode of Twisted Builds, you can see all the crap in my bed, but that 55-gallon drum's getting at E for the Firebird. Stay tuned. So as I said before, I'm getting ethanol for the Firebird. It's going E. Been doing some research, and I really think I'm going to run between an E50 and an E60 ratio, because the fuel system on the Firebird's not really set up for ethanol. It's probably not going to flow enough fuel. So looking at like the octane numbers and stuff like that, I've seen that E50 to E85 is almost the same octane. E85 has a hair bit more octane, but not much. And I believe E85 probably would drop a little bit more air intake temp if I was running like a carburetor or something like that, where I'm not. The Firebird's port injection. So I'm gonna get probably about 30 gallons, maybe 35, not sure, of whatever's at the pump. Normally, when I tested it, at least last year, this was E70 at the pump I was getting at. And the only reason I knew that was because people were putting ethanol fuel in their vehicles that wasn't ethanol rated and coming up check engine lights. I'm a technician by day, so I was diagnosing misfire issues and stuff with pretty much high long-term fuel trims and short-term fuel trims whenever you applied the throttle. So it was a definite, you know, it was an E85 issue. I tested the fuel and it tested for E85 instantly. So, well, E70. But as I said, I'm going to put probably 30 or 35 gallons in that 55-gallon drum. And I'm going to test it when I get home. I got a brand new pump for it. That barrel used to be an oil barrel, and I've probably flushed, I'm guessing, 3 gallons of gasoline through it to get all the oil out. It actually looks really clean on the inside now. So I should be good to go. I'm going to get, as I said, 35 gallons of whatever's at the pump, E70, E85, whatever it is. And then I'm going to, I got another 5-gallon metal barrel in the back of the truck, and I'm going to fill it with pump 93, or whatever the highest octane is they have. And when we get home, we'll pump it out. I'll try to get that on video and see what it tests at. And then I will put fuel in there and keep testing until I get around I want it to be around E50 to E60, somewhere in that range. E55 would be perfect in my opinion, but you know, somewhere right there. So stay tuned. Alright guys, got it back in the garage. Actually this is the first time I'm taking a video like this, so hello. I'm Dale, I'm the guy in front of Twisted Builds. So I unloaded it off the truck. I just used a spare tire that I have up in the garage and threw it on the barrel, then rolled it into the garage here. Got it here. I still gotta label it with ethanol or something. Brand new Harbor Freight barrel pump. It's rated for gasoline. I'm not sure how I'll do with ethanol, but I guess we'll find out. And I'm planning, I haven't decided if I'm probably going to take the barrel pump out of it during storage, actual storage, and use the sealed lids I have. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they got O-rings on them. So use the sealed lids and seal the barrel up, because I know ethanol fuel is highly hygroscopic, which means it sucks the moisture out of the air. And I live in the middle of Pennsylvania, which means we've been getting a ton of rain recently, and the humidity's high. I'm sweating. I ignore my sweaty shirt and the fact of it's an old work shirt from way back when. But anyway, it's in here. I forgot to bring a test tube home, so I took one of my test tubes from my fuel injector test stand. Just unscrewed it from the base. I'm going to pump some fuel out of it. It's actually the first time I've done this, so we'll see how long it takes me. And then we're going to check. I got a bottle of water here, and we're going to check the ethanol content. And then I'm going to mix it. I got 5 gallons of fuel on the floor here, and we'll see how it goes. Hello. I already got too much. Yeah. So. Alright, so I'm going to pour a little out. I got like 80 milliliter. So. I'm also, before I run it in the car, I'm going to get a filter set up for this. A buddy of mine showed me like the filter setup he'd recommend, and I'm going to do it because I can already see there's, and it might just be from the brand new pump, but there's crap at the bottom of my test thing already, and I just started. So it's going to get a filter set up, but for right now, this will work. So how I test it, and I might have to look this back up, but I know the general consensus, or the general way of testing, I already poured too much of it, just a hair, is you get the test thing. Too much again. Anyway, I should talk more while I'm making these videos. The general consensus is that you get 50, you get around 50 in your, or 50 milliliters in your bottle, and then you put water in it, which I'm right there, and it's dirty. I'm definitely gonna need a filter. It's either the pump breaking in or whatnot, but if you can see here, focus. Not gonna focus for me. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's 50 right now. So, or just, it might be 49. It's in between 49 and 50. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna very carefully take it all the way up to 100. I probably should have looked up how to do this before the video, so I'm probably gonna cut the video quick and look it up online to do the calculation, or do the calculation if I remember it correctly. But now you just very slowly mix water, which means the sample is going to be garbage, but I can't reuse the fuel, obviously. I'll take it right up to 100. On the dot. It's definitely ethanol fuel. No doubt about that. Once you do that, to make sure you get all the, there's a bug, to make sure you get all the ethanol out of the fuel, and the ethanol mixes with the water, and the gasoline separates at this point. So if you can see that, it's at 100. It's all like milkshakey because of the water content in it. So I'm gonna let that settle for a minute. I'm gonna sit this down. And I can already see the top starting to settle. So we're going to let that settle down. I'm going to stop the video for a minute, look up the procedure quick, and we'll be right back. Alright, I actually had to look up in my Ford manual, because Ford trained us, and ignore this, I'm a Ford technician, have been for quite a few years, but Ford trained us how to do an E85 test, and honestly it's been a year and I forgot how to do it. So, I did the E85 test, and I showed you pouring it in and putting the water in it. I've been moving this around a little bit so you can kind of see it's kind of moving around, and again, the fuel sample's dirty. I'm going to put a fuel filter on this barrel. But if you look there, you can see that little top part is gasoline and the bottom part is water and ethanol content mixed together. So whenever I sat it down, it was at 85%. Or sorry, 85 milliliter. That doesn't mean it's 85%. You have to do some math at this point. So, I'm going to try to put this as in layman terms as possible for people doing this at home. So, as I said before, we started with a 50 milliliter sample of the fuel we're testing, and then we added another 50 milliliter into it to get a total volume of 100. Now, the water we added into that was just for the fact that we had to suck the ethanol out of the fuel. So the very top part you saw there was pure gasoline. The underneath was a water ethanol mix. So I've got my brick of an iPhone. What you do is you saw it was at 85, and we're going to start at the 50. So because 50 down is just water ethanol mix, we're ignoring that part of the fuel sample. because our original fuel sample was only 50% or 50 milliliter, and we need to figure out of that fuel sample how much of it was E85%. So that way I can use it for tuning the car and for mixing, because I still need to mix the barrel up. So what you do is you take the separation line, which is 85, and you subtract it, because our start line's at 50 now. So we take 85 and you subtract 50, so that's 35. So you have 35 milliliter worth of separation, and your fuel sample was 50. So we're going to take the 35 milliliter of fuel separation, or separation of ethanol out of the fuel, or gasoline, or pure gasoline, and you're going to divide it by the total volume of your sample, which was 50 milliliter. So we're going to take 35 and divide it by 50. That comes to 0.7. Alright? So the math inclined are going to know 0.7 70%, because it's 0.7 of 1. If you want to know the exact percentage, times it by 100, or 70% of E85. Or sorry, 70% of ethanol. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. If you can't tell, I've been out in the sun a little bit. But it's 70% ethanol, and then that would be 30% fuel in the mix. So my E85 pump, which is labeled, I took it out of pretty much. We have a couple pumps in town now, and I took it out of one of them in town. I'll keep it nameless just to make sure I'm okay. But anyway, it says on the pump it can be 51 to 85% ethanol content. Last year I tested it, it was 70%. It hasn't changed. It's still 70% of fuel. Or sorry, 7% of ethanol in the fuel, which isn't awesome, but it's not bad. It actually means I have less gasoline I have to add to this to get where I want to be for a target. So now I'm going to do some more math, and I'll be back to figure out how much gasoline I have to add to get this down to 50%. Alright, math for this is easy. I wasn't thinking I should just let the camera run. Anyway, so I got 30 gallons of E85 in this barrel. It's a 55-gallon barrel, but I wanted to give myself more than enough room to add fuel to it. That way I could get my mixture down where I wanted it, because if you look into it, E85 for, like, as I said before in the video when I was going to get the E85 or the flex fuel, that E85 after 50% has no extra octane to it. It does have a reed vapor, I think it's reed vapor pressure that's lower. Which, if I'm getting this correct, and I could be completely off, if I'm getting this correctly, the higher or the lower that pressure is, the more the longer it takes for the fuel to become a vapor, because it's lower reed vapor pressure. It takes longer to become a vapor, and because it takes longer to become a vapor, it pulls more heat out of the mixture. It takes more heat energy to make it become a vapor, which is the cooling effect. Because there is a drop, I guess there is a drop of reed vapor pressure going straight to E85, which means there's more cooling effect. However, on a port injected engine like my LS Firebird is, where you only have a couple inches between the injector and the intake valve, there is some fuel cooling at that point. There's not a ton, like for instance like a carbureted setup, or a setup where the injectors were higher, or whatever you want to say. Obviously there will be a fuel cooling aspect even on compression when it changes from a gas to a vapor. However, I'm more in it right now for the octane. My air intake temperatures, I get scared if the IATs on that car hit 130. I've never seen them above 125, which is phenomenal for a dirt cheap eBay intercooler. It's got to be the way I'm doing the setup. The pipes there's a couple restrictions in the pipe. It wasn't ideal. Eventually I'm going to change the setup, but I think the AC effect, like how a car's AC system works, is coming into effect, where the Venturi effect. Whenever you have a bigger hole and you go smaller and then bigger, the speed increases through that Venturi area. It also pulls out, because it's a little bit of a pressure restriction. the other side that has more of a vacuum, I guess it's under boost, but the pressure differential, the area that has less pressure, which is going to be the intake, there it cools the charge down because it's less pressure in that pressure differential. If you're interested in how it works and get a better explanation of what I'm telling you, look up how a car's AC system works. It's pretty much what I'm talking about, except to the extreme. So it uses refrigerant instead of compressed air, or like what we have in the Firebird. But anyway, that's how I'm thinking. It's mixture between the air or the air-to-air intercooler and that effect. The pipe changes aren't phenomenal in size. I try to keep it as little as possible. Some people would think it's excessive. And once I start really pushing power to the car, I know I'm going to have to change some things. But for right now, it works. And again, I'm not going after the E85 or, right now we have E70 for its cooling aspect. I'm going after it for octane. The car only runs pump fuel. I was going to do methanol injection on the car. Then I got to digging into like distribution, and it kind of scared me. I know some people are running it just fine. Honestly, I'd rather just go to ethanol. I can get it in my area. It's a lot. In my opinion, it's going to be a better setup, and it's at E50. I think it's around 112 to 113 octane. I could be wrong on that number. I'm going to post a link, or maybe I'll just throw a photo in the video here of what the octane rating is. But as you can see from this photo, the octane rating doesn't really change much between E50 and E85, so I can mix it E50 with no issue. So the math, I don't know if I went into the math yet or not, but it's really simple. Grab my brick with my phone again. So I got 30 gallons of flex fuel, or E70. So we're going to take 30 gallons, you're going to times it by 0.7. So that's 21 gallons of E70, or there's 21 gallons of ethanol for 30 gallons of fuel. Alright, so I want E50, which is, take that number and double it, so times 2, so 42 gallons total. So if you subtract what I have in there, which is 30, it's 12 gallons of fuel I need to add to it to get to the E50 mixture. Alright, I didn't buy 12 gallons of fuel. Not only didn't buy 12 gallons of fuel, the fuel I got, which is pump 93, is roughly E10. I'd have to test it to verify. So, on the pump it says up to 10% ethanol. So, I'm going to dump all the 5 gallons in there. We're going to test it again, see where we're at. I'll be back. And right about there is when I found out my camera battery died. Go figure, it's been one of those days. So, it's plugged into power right now, so we should be good to go. Okay, so I let the sample settle for a little bit. I'm going to grab it and show you. And after it's settled, it looks like it's settled at the 80 mark, I would say. Roughly 81 to 80. I'm going to use 80 just to be on the safe side. I don't know if you can see that. You can see it actually settled with some dirt in it still. So again, I'm going to put, as I said before, I'm going to run a filter. But because I cleaned that bottle before I did even this second round of testing after I added 5 gallons of fuel. So it's at, we're going to say, the 80 line. So the separation line, we're going to do the math again, so hopefully you guys see what's going on. So I broke iPhone again. The separation line is at 80. We're subtracting the 50 milliliter of unusable sample because we're not using it. That was the 50 milliliter of water we added to it. It was just, again, to suck the alcohol content out of, or the ethanol content out of the fuel. So you subtract 50 out of it, and you get 30. So it's 30 out of 50, alright? So 30 divided by 50, 0.6. Or 60% ethanol content. I was shooting for 55. So, and as I showed you in the math earlier in this video, And again, I could show you if you add times it by 100. 60%. Yeah. Okay. So, it's got 60% ethanol content in the fuel currently, and it's only because I had only 5 gallons of Pump 93 to add to this. If I were to add another 5 gallons of Pump 93, I could drop it down to probably 50% ethanol content. I think 60 will be fine. I may add another 5 gallons and drop it to 50. We'll see how I decide. Thinking probably tomorrow I'm going to pick up the filter for it. I may do a poor man's filter for now and just use like a old t-shirt or whatever, or a rag, something that's going to flow a little bit, but that is not going to let the crap that you saw in the test tube. Right, I don't know if you can focus on this. See the dirt and crap in it? So, pretty much folded that out of the fuel and then put it in the car. I could probably put the towel or something in the funnel, but my plan is they make a special filter. It's an ethanol fuel filter that actually like plugs itself up if it sees too much water in it. That way you know you need to pitch your fuel because it absorbed too much water. For storing aspect, I'm going to drop the camera back down and walk back over here quick. But for storing aspect of it, and ignore, I just noticed that mess. Ignore it. It was from the box for the pump. For storing aspect, as I showed you earlier in the video, I'm going to store it. I'm going to take this barrel pump out of the pump and just set it aside in the garage for now. I'll put a towel or something, maybe even a bag, up over top of the pickup, so that way nothing gets in it, spiders, whatever. It's nice, well, as clean as I can pump out of the barrel. And I'm going to seal it up with the 2 caps that have the nice sealing rings on there. That way this is a watertight sample of fuel, and we'll go from there. I need to look into, tonight I'm probably going to look into the tune-up for that thing for E60. I've never tuned anything on ethanol fuel before, except for the E10 we get at the pumps currently. So I've got to look into it. I've got to find pretty much how I'm going to set it up. Right now it's still on the Megasquirt 2 platform. It does not have a content sensor in it. That's why I had to do this testing, and that's why I'm trying to keep up. I got 35 gallons now because I added 5 to it. Yeah, so I got 35 gallons now of E60 fuel, and that will probably last me this summer. It might not. This thing's known for burnouts. Anyway, anyhow, I know this is E60. I can tune it for E60, and I'll just keep my laptop on me. I'm going to see, this also has MS Droid on a tablet. I'm going to see if I can figure out, I'm pretty sure you can save tunes on the MS Droid, and I could load them over Bluetooth. So I'll probably load, or save the fuel for gasoline, like the regular Pump 93 I've got currently, because it's a relatively perfect, it's not a perfect tune-up, but it's good for the vehicle currently. And then I'm going to figure out a tune-up for the E60. I'm going to start at 10 pounds, which is my wastegate pressure with the boost controller turned off. And pretty much start there, because I know with the 75 pound-hour injectors, and this uses, E60 has a lower stotch, which means it uses more fuel, even under power. I'm not sure how far I can push my current fuel setup. So I'm starting at low 10 pounds of boost, and I figure I'll work my way up until I run out of injector. Because I think that's going to be the bottleneck in the system. It's either going to be the injector or it's going to be the lines and rails. I'm guessing it's the injector because I'm still running decaps. They're 75 pounds an hour. And I'll tune it at 10 pounds. But this should allow me to add timing, which is the big thing. The car is unbelievably detonation prone, or knock prone. Or I guess it's knock limited is what people call it. 10 pounds of boost, I'm only running 16 degrees of timing because any more it knocks. 20 pounds of, or 19 technically, it's like 19 and a half pounds of boost. the car is limited to about 10 degrees, because even that, like a degree and a half change, because I went from 10 to 11 and a half at 20 pounds, and it started painting at the top end of Beaver Springs. So I let off the throttle. I was like, yeah, nope, don't need to do that. So I backed it off to 10 and a half, and it's a noticeable difference. I mean, that degree and a half on pump fuel, even with it painting, was a very noticeable difference in power. So there's no way on pump 93 I'm getting anywhere close to MBT timing, which is maximum brake torque timing, which is pretty much the timing the engine likes to make the most torque or power. There's no way I'm getting close to that on pump 93. So I looked into actually getting VP race fuel. It's like the trying to think, it was like the 114 or something like that. I want to say it's a 114 octane, $75 for 5 gallons of it. And I didn't even price the C16, which is the 2 common fuels available. Pretty much on my way into work, there's a place that sells it. And after the sticker shock I had, like, I'll pass. I'll spend, you know, I think it was $80 for 30 gallon of flex fuel, which was E70. And I bought another 5 gallons of pump 93 and poured in there, which dropped it to E60. If I were to pump or dump another 5 gallons into it, I'll drop it down to, I'm guessing, E55, between E55 and E50, because again, the pump fuel still has up to 10% ethanol in it. So even though it's mostly gasoline, you're still putting a little bit of ethanol in here as well. So the percentage ratio isn't, you know, the math doesn't always quite line up. It's close, but it's not exact. So, but anyway, that is what's going to happen with the Firebird. I'll be taking video in the upcoming week or two. I need to do some Mexican hits on it before I take it to the drag strip to get it dialed in, because I don't want to look like an idiot when I go there. And I'm going to, when I get to the drag strip, which I'm hoping is this coming Friday, I'm going to hit it with 10 pounds of boost. It'll be on a test and tune night. So 10 pounds of boost, see what she makes, make sure the air fuel ratio is nice and happy and I'm not running it lean or anything, and then I'm going to start adding timing. Because I'm thinking that 10 pounds of boost, I should be theoretically probably in the low 20s. Definitely the high teens, or higher teens, probably low 20s. I'm at 16 right now on pump 93. So I'd like to, I'm guessing, I'm going to do probably 2 degree increments at a time and see what it likes. Once I stop seeing a plateau in performance pretty much to the 8th mile, then I'll know that pretty much mile an hour in the 8th mile, then I'll know, okay, this thing's adding more timing is not doing anything, and stay a little bit lower than the peak just because I want to keep the motor happy. And then start adding boost and timing and see how far it takes, or how far she'll go. So that's pretty much the only thing I'm going to be doing to that car, mainly because of the S10 build, and I'm not made of money, and I want a fun daily. So let me flip the camera over here. I told you I was going to put this on another video, and I'm going to. You're going to get another video of this, but I'm going to give you a little teaser. Take this off the platform, maybe. Will you come? Haha, look at that. Ta-da! So, S10's apart right now. The front clip, as I like to call it, fenders, radiator support, and stuff is outside right now. It's so light I can literally pick it up myself and just move it in and out of the garage. I have a very small garage, very, very small garage, so that's what I've been doing. But S10's apart. I told you guys I was going to blow the motor up. Yeah, things kind of changed when I realized it would be a lot easier to get the engine, or it'd be a lot, I needed to take the front clip off and the hood off so I can take the cab up and fix all the floor and stuff that I showed you in the prior video. So because of that, I'm looking at the engine right here. It's just coming out. The thing smokes already. I wanted to blow it up, but I'm also worried about hurting the transmission. I'm reusing the MV3500 that's in this truck, and I don't want to waste it. So, sorry, no good blow up video. But this is the current standpoint for the S10. I guess I'll do a very quick speeduino update if my battery will let me. Camera battery's about to die again. It is ready for testing. So stay tuned, you guys, and thank you for watching the video. If you like these videos, please subscribe. And as I said, I'll be putting out more videos on the S10 build, the E85 on the the E85 on the Firebird, and speeduino updates. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.